Good morning, I'm Matt, and welcome to the 10 at 10 premiere for September 6th of 2022.
I'm Tim. We're MrMaple.com. We're a mail order business. We ship directly to your door. If you don't know about the 10 at 10, we release 10 new trees every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. Today we're releasing 20. Sign up for a weekly email to get the full listing of the full 20, so you can get that at the same time this video is coming out.
Hey, we're always trying to push the envelope with these and do new and interesting plants, so we greatly appreciate you tuning into these, and we love to know where you're from. We can only ship within the United States, but we love our international community, so let us know in the comments section below where you're watching from today. We love checking that out. And also just want to say thank you to everybody who's been getting involved in these premieres. We recently hit triple digits. They've been just growing from there. I'd say like 4 weeks ago was one of our first ones that hit triple digits, and they just keep growing, guys. We really appreciate you jumping on those premieres. We enjoyed that community we're building there and that conversation. And so shout out to everybody in my premiere. I really appreciate you guys.
And get involved in the community like Matt's talking about. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and always share this with your gardening friends. You know, we really appreciate everyone sharing it because this is how word of mouth gets spread about our nursery.
So today on the 10 at 10, we've got some heavy hitters. We're back with the 10 at 10. As you know, we bring it every time, or at least we try to. We kind of mix it up. We think of plants that we like, and then we look at what complements that specific week. And so we'll just get into it on this side of the table. Without further ado, we got Hot Blonde. Hot
Blonde, you know I love yellow. A faster growing yellow that can handle the sun. Bright orange red fall color. Matt named it after his wife.
Yeah, probably our most popular member of the Heat Seeker series. Definitely check out our video on the Heat Seeker series if you want to do a deep dive and see a preview of some of the Heat Seekers to come in the future. Hot Blonde, one of our most durable uprights that's yellow. This is an insanely heat tolerant yellow that just continues to bring the color. Again, we're shooting this video in September, so this is some of the least eventful time for color, but still holding some great yellow right now.
And if you grow this in full sun, sometimes you can get some peach colors to it. I've seen a lot of people posting the Mr. Maple Friends group on Facebook. If you're not involved, go get involved in the Mr. Maple group on Mr. Maple Friends group on Facebook. There's a lot of people posting photos of their plants, and you can go look and see people have posted a lot of really good photos of Hot Blonde because it's a favorite. I mean, when we first started listing this, I started to realize it was something really special because we have 1,000 varieties of Japanese maples, and people would come to the nursery and they'd buy a Hot Blonde, and I'd tell them about how great it was, and they'd come back, and the next time they come back, they'd want 2 or 3 more Hot Blondes for different spots around their garden. And so I knew that it was really special because they saw everything else, but they wanted more and more Hot Blondes.
Hey, shout out to Richard Godet. Richard Godet created the Mr. Maple Friends group, and then he dropped off Facebook for a second, so I was forced to take control of it. I didn't actually create the group, but I saw there was no admin in the Mr. Maple Friends group. This was many, many years ago, probably like 7 or 8 years ago. But he created this fan group for us, and then we've kind of taken it and grown it into a whole thing now. I'd say over the last 5 years, we really increased our posting in there, and we're getting a great community going on there. So definitely jump in there. You'll not only see posts from me and Matt, but also Wesley and Brian are getting involved in there. There's just a really fun community going on there and a lot of good questions being answered, plus just a lot of fun things too. So sometimes when I'm listing in that one-on-one sale of 3, I'll go throw that 3 gallon in there first so people will kind of see what's going on there. So definitely check out Mr. Maple Friends on Facebook.
So next up, we've got Quercus robur variegata. So we're dealing with an English oak that is different from the English oak we offered before that's variegated. This is actually a margined variegation on an English oak. And I think this is the very first time that we've offered this on MrMaple.com.
Yeah, beautiful plant. I've got kind of a specimen of this we planted in one of our display gardens. It's just a really fun plant. I love those English oaks. They're very durable. You can't go wrong with variegated plants either. I mean, you're getting a variegated English oak, you're getting something special. It's been particularly durable for the variegation for me too. It's one that I've noticed is it's very stable.
And this has been one for us too. It's slow to get established like most English oaks, but once it gets established, it can take off and make a nice oak tree. And then you get that neat variegation on top of that. Definitely a cool plant to add in the garden. Something very unique, something very different. And the oak trees don't last very long when we list them on Mr. Maple.
That's true.
We've got a lot of people who collect a lot of the different varieties of oak, so don't wait around on Quercus robur.
They last a long time in the ground, but not necessarily on the website. So another hitter again. I've got another member of the Heat Seeker series. Shout out to our Heat Seeker video, go check that out. I've got Hot Tamale. Now this one, For whatever reason, I love it, but for whatever reason, this one tends to be one of the fastest ones to sell out. Like Hot Tamale, when it hits that website, I think it's the one a lot of people need to complete the collection. It's the one I've been growing the longest. It's a fast growing one. Great pink new growth in the early spring over that olive color, and just a beautiful plant. Very, very durable. I think you're gonna like this one in the garden too. For whatever reason, I think a lot of people got Hot Blonde. Maybe we had it in higher numbers, but Hot Tamale, people have been waiting on, I know.
And the code name that we got this name under was Nakahara Benny. We found out when we were in Japan that it was Nakahara Benny B was the correct name. And then once we talked with Masayoshi Yano, who found this cultivar, we were able to put that name Hot Tamale on it. And amazing plant. We love it here at Mr. Maple. Super heat tolerant. We've got a lot of people with this in Texas that just love this plant to death.
Yeah, super durable. I've had people in Southern California just rave about this plant that bought it from us, and they call back and want more. It's fast growing, it's durable, it's a great complement to the Hot Blonde. Hot sauce, you know, sometimes we offer that one as well. Hot Blonde, Hot Tamale, and Hot Sauce are the main members there of the Heat Seeker series right now. But Hot Tamale, I mean, when it comes up, you know, it's a popular one for sure.
So next we've got a really cool one, Acer Palmatum Dissectum Firefall.
Firefall. Now, this is a great colored plant. You're gonna love this for its bright picked up red. Excellent heat tolerance to it too. We've actually mentioned this is some of our heat tolerant Japanese maple series we're working on. Excellent plant for really high heat areas and holding that color really well. Now these have been in heavy shade in our greenhouses, so they're a little bit greener than you would typically see in the ground. But we've found this to be one of the very best lace leaves for holding that color throughout the season and having peak color.
I like it too because in the springtime you get a more cherry red out of this, a little more picked up red. And so it's not your typical maroon when it first leaves out. And then it really holds that brighter red color real well throughout the season. Excellent plant that I think the more people grow this, the more this is going to become a staple in the nursery trade because it holds its color so well.
Yeah, it's a beauty. I mean, this one has a really picked up bright scarlet red in the fall. This is a great candidate for container gardening. Now we have these listed as high grafts. This graft's about right here. You can definitely check out our video on what's a high graft versus what's a low graft if you want more information on that. But a beautiful place to start with. These high grafts are great if you want to plant them and have some hosta or heuchera or something small growing down low. Just don't give them too much root competition. But a beautiful specimen here to start with and some great sizes too. So next up, we've got another one we're big fans of. This is Acer Palmatum Dark Night. Now, recently we got out the backhoe and we planted the original Dark Night in one of our gardens. That garden's still under construction a lot. I'm putting in some mulch and doing some things. Maybe next spring we'll do a video with the original Dark Night there in the garden. It was a fun tree we actually picked up from Talon. Another classic Talon Buckholz introduction, but really fun. One we had to get the original of whenever we could.
We love this plant. Definitely really cool. You'll notice Dark Night, you know, that obviously is could be a reference to Batman. You see the yellow tags here, almost like a utility belt.
Oh, jeez.
Amazing, amazing plant. We like it just because of that dark articulation that it gets. And the DC reference, I love that as well.
Let us know in the comment section if you've seen the video where I'm dressed up like Batman.
Oh, goodness. Then you've probably seen the video I'm dressed up like Spider-Man, which is the same video.
Maybe we need to do it again for our Dark Night. That was an Usugumo Halloween reference, but...
Anyways, Dark Night is a great plant out there in the landscape and garden. Great tree to pair up with something like a Hot Blonde or a Summer Gold that can really play some contrast off of each other. And really, that dark color with that bright color just makes such a great contrast out there in the garden landscape.
Now, since we've grown our channel so much, I can feel people watching thinking, they've got a lot of videos I haven't seen. If I haven't seen one of them in the Batman and Spider-Man outfit. Yeah, this channel's been around a while, actually. We just recently, when Brian got here, really got serious about putting out a ton of content. But I think you're gonna love Dark Night. It's one that tends to be super popular. You can also check out our New Ghost series, where we talk about the New Ghost, and we can talk a little bit more prominently about Dark Night. Love this one though. Awesome colors to it. One of the darkest purple forms you can ever get, and just a real beauty too. Again, these have been in heavy shade, so they're a little greener than they would be in the ground. And hopefully next spring we'll get that garden completed. We'll do a focus on that, the original plant there in the garden too.
Yep. So next we've got Arakaria, also known as monkey puzzle. Love this plant. If you've seen large monkey puzzles, they're amazing. There's a slower growing evergreen conifer that really has these really pointy leaves to them. that are very sharp. It looks like something out of this world, looks like a prehistoric tree. And the idea behind it, the myth behind it is that monkeys came up to this and tried to figure out how the heck are they going to climb this thing because it's covered in all these little sharp leaves.
Yeah, we get enamored with these things. They're a super funky plant, really unique. I got to go to an arboretum in Belgium that had a like 100-year-old planting of these, and they were, I was almost a forest of them. It was really cool. Just a beautiful specimen. This is a fun plant to be growing though. It's really unique, and it really just stands out. Once you've seen it in the garden, it's very, very different than everything else. You know, one tip to growing these, they like to be put in a spot and then left alone. It's not a plant that likes to be transplanted a lot. So once you get this one into its new location, I suggest leaving it in that spot. Good drainage is paramount there. You know, some good sunlight. You want at least 4 to 6 hours of sunlight on this for its best growth. But the key is don't transplant a lot. They do get a little bit of shock when you start to move them around.
As a zone 7 through 10 plant, and that 10 side of things isn't 10 Florida, it's more 10 California. And probably about a zone 9, about the panhandle, whenever it comes to the Florida side of things. But this monkey puzzle is such a unique, rare plant. It's extremely rare in cultivation. One of the reasons it's more rare in cultivation is it takes 40 years for one of these plants to start throwing seed.
Right.
And so you have to have a 40-year-old one to really even start getting plants available. So you don't see it listed that often, but when you do see it listed, it's time to jump on it because this is a very unique, rare conifer that stands out.
Right.
And it's very interesting and will be something that will always give you that prehistoric look, and everyone will always be puzzled what your monkey puzzle is.
It's going to capture the imagination for sure. It's one that when you see it in the garden, especially as they get those developed leaders coming off and all those different arms, hits that wind. You know, we talk a lot about plants that look like they might talk to you or have a critter involved, and this is certainly one. It kind of looks like it's moving around there in the garden. Shout out to Bob Farmer. I know he passed away a few years ago, but one of the ones I think of prominently was going to Bob Farmer's place when he was alive at Gristmill Landscaping. Ed Shin recommended we go down there and see his place, and he had a gorgeous specimen of this there in his garden, and I was just enamored with it. I had to be growing it after that. I said, this is the craziest thing. It was probably 12, 15 years ago we got to go to his place, and it just reminded me, it made me think, what a cool plant.
Yeah, definitely an awesome conifer that you don't see often, and I don't think they'll last too long, so make sure you check out quick. Remember, when you add things to your cart on Mr. Maple, they don't hold them for you. They only hold them for you once you've checked out.
So next up we have another Talon Buckholz introduction. You can tell Talon has a good sense of humor with this one. It might be a little bit of a weed joke, but this one's called Zigzag.
I was actually told that the name was because this one zigged there and zagged there with the way it weeps.
That's exactly what everybody thinks when they see the picture of it.
But this is a cool weeping lace leaf, very thin lobes on this thing, and so it doesn't have a lot of very deeply divided sublobes, which gives it more of that weed kind of look.
It does have a very big full leaf for a lace leaf. Also a neat feature of this one, it's a little bit more of that light green to emerald green going to a bold red in the fall. So like Green Hornet, it's actually another lace leaf that's going to be a green going to a red. It's normally really picked up bright red. One
of the newer selections from the Floral Wonder collection at Buckholz Nursery. You don't see it that often, and it's been pretty popular here at Mr. Maple. We keep producing as many of them as we can, and definitely a fun plant that is pretty unique and pretty different.
What's really stood out to me, it definitely does have a lot of characteristics. It probably does get the Zigzag name from it being really, you know, uniquely shaped, but it does have a very large leaf to it. Like each leaf is very distinctly big, and it's a very thick leaf as well, which I think is interesting on a lace leaf. If you grow in this one close to some other green lace leaves, you're going to be surprised how much it stands out from the pack.
Yeah, the leaf is so unique and different, just maybe because of that sublobe thing. You may get some more divided leaves on the the new growth flush that's irregular. We got a whole video on irregular summer new growth, but most of that older growth is going to have that less divided sublobe, which gives this plant really something really unusual and different. Also for me, it's been a real true dwarf. I mean, it's not been one that's gigantic in its size. I think it's a perfect candidate for a container garden or small area garden. For sure. So next up we've got Acer Palmatum Rhode Island Red. This is a dwarf red bloodgood type. And I love this plant because it's everything everybody wants, is that bloodgood style leaf, that bloodgood color, but in a dwarf Japanese maple. You often see people doing their best to take a bloodgood or a bloodgood seedling and hedging it back to have the shape that Rhode Island Red has naturally. Yeah, if you people collect chickens, you probably have heard of the Rhode Island Red chicken, and maybe where this one gets its name. It's
said it was found as a broom on bloodgood. You're going to get more of that small bell shape with this one. It's not weeping, but it tends to be very domed and very thick and full. Awesome palette for that color with that large leaf. So this one has a little bit bigger leaf than your typical small dwarf. Really fun candidate for that. Excellent candidate for container gardening or in the ground.
Yeah, I like it for containers especially. I mean, NJ Acer or Ed Shin's had a gorgeous one in his garden. We've got some photos of that in that blue pot. It just makes something special in a container because of that rounded habit. I've seen these done as bonsai, which we talk about this in one of our videos for unique Japanese maples for bonsai. And this one just has such a great spring color, that cherry red when you give it some sunlight, and that dense habit just makes this tree unique in those regards and makes this tree stand out from the crowd.
I've seen some of the big box stores selling dwarf bloodgood before, and it's pretty unethical because if you look at them, they're actually seedlings. They're not normally dwarf bloodgood like bloodgood Nana I saw a couple years at the big box stores. This one is truly going to give you everything you like about bloodgood, that great fall color, that larger leaf, but in a true dwarf form. So if you're looking for a dwarf bloodgood, think about Rhode Island Red. It's the perfect fit for that. Now next up, I guess I'm getting a lot of the Talon Buchholz introductions. We got another of his japonicum introductions. Shout out to everybody looking for those big leaf japonicums. Today we've got Acer japonicum Giant Moon.
And Giant Moon, like the name suggests, has giant leaves that are moon shaped. Goes to bright oranges and reds in the fall, and really awesome plant all around. I mean, it's got that large leaf. Those leaves can be 6-8 inches if you give them morning sun, afternoon shade, and amazing japonicum with some really good fall color.
Yeah, you can get, I mean, we say dinner plate size a lot, and that's no exception, especially if you're giving this one late day shade. That foliage can get quite large. Giant Moon is Talon's introduction into the large leaf japonicum. So this is one of the biggest leafed ones. Really fun colors on it too. I mean, you're typically going to get some early spring tassel red flowers on the Acer japonicums as well. Really complements that green foliage well. But the fall colors are spectacular. It's not uncommon to get reds, yellows, and oranges all on the same leaf on this one. Typically for us, it has insanely bright red fall color, but you can get a whole plethora of mixes in that. I mean, it can be red, yellow, and orange all on the same plant.
Definitely a cool japonicum. Again, one of the ones that won't last too long because there's so many people who are looking for those japonicums, and we try to make as many of those available as we can, but we just got a lot of people who love them. So I know y'all love the Giant Moons. Again, make sure to check out quickly.
So last up, but certainly not least, we've got Summer Gold.
And Summer Gold is a classic, upright, about 6 to 8 foot in 10 years, yellow, from Girardelli Nursery in Italy. And this is one of the ones that's, once it's established, is one of the most heat tolerant Palmatum yellows that's out there on the market.
Hey, we've got two of the very best yellows for sun out here today with Hot Blonde and Summer Gold. Two of my favorite yellows we grow. You're gonna love this one for just that intense yellow color. Hey, Tim likes the yellows. Check out our video on yellows in your garden. It's a great way to accentuate other colors. They really do bring out a lot of the other palette going on in your garden. So if you've got some yellow there, it's gonna brighten the reds, it's gonna darken the greens, and it's gonna give you some of the best overall color for the eye. Now, Summer Gold is a nice dwarf tree that can handle a good bit of sun up to zone 8B, but you can put this one in shade. It's gonna lighten up a dark spot. It's an excellent candidate for container gardening. It's insanely durable, and some great bright red fall color as well.
Summer Gold is by far, to me, one of the very best. I mean, best palmatums. And I love this plant just as a plant itself, making that nice mid-sized upright Japanese maple. Then when you get that yellow that can bring out your reds, your greens, contrast against your blue, not Japanese maples, but blue conifers, it just is an all-around great plant that I think everyone should have in their garden. I mean, at least one Summer Gold.
Oh, for sure. Excellent plant to be growing. Hey, shout out to Brian and Francis Rule. We're standing in front of our new shed here. Brian wanted some extra garden room, so he donated us a shed. It's going to turn into a little bit of an outdoor computer room for us. So this one, the mountains may be leaving. We may be painting this one up soon, but we wanted to get out here in front of it today. So special thanks to Brian and Francis for giving us a shed.
And thanks to everyone who came out to our open house. We really appreciate it. It's always a fun thing to get to see people and see friends and get to be able to talk plants.
Hey, how about that one guy with the crazy hat?
That was crazy.
Yeah, what was that one thing that happened?
Wow.
We're actually filming this before the open house because we're all going to be so tired. There's no way we're going to be able to film it and then get it out the next morning. So we're actually filming this before open house, is why we're joking like that. But we greatly appreciate everybody who attended when you're watching this. We've got fun stuff planned. We may even have a fall open house, so stay tuned for details for that. We're still doing our giveaway with hashtag Japanese Maple, so feel free to stick that under every single video. I may have picked a really long way out when I picked 15,000, so I may go ahead and pick a few winners for that soon. So I may pick a few winners and then leave a few for later too. We might go ahead and cut the difference there, give out a few of those gift cards and then do the rest at 15. But hey guys, definitely participate in that. Hashtag Japanese Maple can win you a MrMaple gift card.
Take care.
God bless.
And have a great day.